rallying with our China slogans, are about to head into battle. Listen up. Listen to my command. Hello, comrades. Hello, comrades. Thank you for your hard work. Count on me for the first battle. Count on me for the first battle. I'll bring victory. I'll bring victory. Okay, we're setting off. The main unit is moving out. Moving out to the front lines. Take a look. They're heading straight into the action. Let's hope they return safely. This footage shows Chinese mercenaries preparing to head to the Russia-Ukraine battlefield. The presence of Chinese fighters among Russian forces has grown significantly. On November 5th, a user shared information about a recruitment message from Russia, written in Chinese. Greeting, comrade. You have passed the selection for the Russian Strategic Support Forces. Please proceed immediately to the Russian embassy in Beijing to confirm your information. Once verified, bring ID and other identity documents to join the Russian mercenary organization. By November 30th, 2024, report to the front line in Avdiivka. A prompt response is required. Failure to report will be considered desertion and dealt with accordingly. Thank you for your participation. The Russian people will be honored by your service. However, events soon took a drastic turn. Among those proudly marching to battle was a man named Sun Rui-chi, reportedly the commander of this unit. Initially, he was filled with confidence and declaring, "Count on me for the first battle. I will bring victory." Yet not long after, he fell seriously ill and sought help from the Chinese embassy in Russia, only to be turned away. I'm in Ukraine right now. I'm posting here to ask for help. The battlefield didn't knock me down, but sickness did. I'm suffering from a severe heart attack, chest pain, and a bad cold. My throat is completely ulcerated, and my joints are in a lot of pain. There's no medical care here, and the doctors only provide the most basic medicines and an ECG, saying I'm fine. I asked to withdraw for health reasons. I walked nearly 40 minutes to get here. It's snowing heavily, and I just managed to get a bit of signal to send this message. I contacted the Chinese embassy in Russia, but they told me it's a personal matter and won't help. Now I'm asking for help from all netizens and Chinese friends to reach out to the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I need to terminate my contract and return to China for treatment. Recently, a post on X from the Overseas Leak account shared that Chinese nationals serving as mercenaries in Russia are regretting their decisions. According to a volunteer soldier, only 6 out of the original 421 volunteers remain, with 4 hailing from Anhui and 2 from Henan. This soldier urged others not to join as volunteers, warning, "If you come here, there's no going back alive." He added that hundreds of Chinese have died, yet China refused to compensate their families. Russian officers claimed that Chinese fighters surrendered to Ukraine and thus declined to pay, not even covering burial costs, let alone wages. The soldier further reported that they now realize they were deceived but have no way out. He said, "Trying to leave the battlefield means being shot." Filled with regret, he advised Chinese nationals to never come. The experience of this Chinese soldier reveals the harsh realities of war, starkly contrasting with initial aspirations. With no pay and high casualties, the promises made to these mercenaries are put into question. Most mercenaries lack stable support systems, and survival hinges on empty promises, with Russia largely indifferent to their plight. Many Chinese commentators labeled the situation as foolish and said, "Why sacrifice for a dictator? Do they even appreciate you? They just think you're cannon fodder." Others condemned the CCP for sending troops to the Russia-Ukraine battlefield despite knowing the odds against Ukraine. Another Chinese social media user commented, "What a tragic fate. Those misled into joining the war face a reality far more brutal than they imagined. They pursued supposed honor but lost their lives, without basic protections or dignity. Hopefully more people will realize the cruelty of war and not be swayed by false propaganda." One commentator noted, "This is the outcome of the CCP's brainwashing education, a twisted sense of right and wrong, being used as expendables in someone else's conflict." Previously, Chinese social media rumored that the Chinese military had deployed volunteers or even entire units to Russia, including entire regiments or battalions. There were also rumors that China is about to send an 18,000-strong volunteer force to support Russia. On Douyin and WeChat video platforms, Numerous videos have shown an increase in notices for reservists, particularly since National Day. The Russia-Ukraine war has been ongoing for over 2 years. To aid Russia, North Korea also sent troops. However, rather than being rewarded, North Korean soldiers have faced discrimination and mistreatment from Russian forces. On October 25th, CNN reported that the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence Agency intercepted encrypted audio transmissions on October 23rd. The recording showed Russian soldiers referring disdainfully to incoming North Korean forces as the K Battalion, even calling them damn Chinese. In the audio, a Russian soldier describes a North Korean soldier saying, "He's standing there with his eyes bulging. Damn it, what am I supposed to do with them?" The Russian authorities plan to assign a translator and 3 senior officers for every 30 North Korean soldiers, which has frustrated the Russian troops. One soldier noted, "For every 30 men, we need 3 senior officers. How are we supposed to manage that?" Another remarked, "Tomorrow we'll have 77 battalion commanders, the commander, vice commander, and so on." Unexpectedly, despite China and North Korea's loyalty, Russia showed little gratitude, offending both countries by insulting both North Koreans and Chinese. Recently, North Korea sent 12,000 troops to the Russia-Ukraine conflict line, a move that has drawn international attention and has been confirmed by the US and South Korea. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken recently noted that around 8,000 North Korean troops are stationed in Kursk, ready to move to the border, sparking NATO's call for a strong retaliation. North Korean soldiers, isolated from the outside world and poorly trained, are unfamiliar with modern military technology and lack even basic tools like cell phones. Often malnourished and weak, they struggle to keep up with Russian forces due to the language barriers, making them little more than cannon fodder on the battlefield. Chinese mercenaries reportedly fare slightly better than North Korean troops, but still face discrimination from Russian forces. Some Chinese fighters, disgruntled by their treatment, voiced their grievances in videos, describing how Chinese volunteers were exhausted and suffered severe physical strain. Despite such conditions, more Chinese continue to volunteer to fight for Russia. A Chinese mercenary, known online as Li Dafu, recently posted an unboxing of his supplies from the front lines, saying he and his comrades waited 5 days and received only a small loaf of bread, canned beef, 2 packs of cigarettes, potato powder, and coffee powder. He also noted a severe water shortage, only 1 sip of water a day. In another video, he claimed that much of their food and supplies were scavenged from the rubble after battles. A lack of supplies is difficult enough, but facing Ukraine's advanced weaponry is a far graver concern. For Chinese mercenaries and North Korean troops alike, survival on this battlefield is an extremely slim prospect. Many brainwashed Chinese soldiers went to Russia with high spirits. A Chinese veteran known as Cricket expressed his frustration in a live stream, saying he only realized after arriving that he was just cannon fodder. He added that the Russian government had also withheld their promised wages, paying them a fraction of the 25,000 yuan per month they were promised, with no additional support. Now, he claims to be the last Chinese mercenary in his unit. 6 Chinese soldiers died on the front lines in September and October alone. On October 6th, a Chinese mercenary posted a message saying, "I came here to fight fascism, but all I feel now is bitterness and disappointment." He described seeing countless comrades sent to the front lines, never to return, while he fought bravely with no food or water. After 5 days without supplies, he and his injured comrades walked through the ruins of 4 towns, covering 13 kilometers on foot, only to be branded deserters and sent back to the front without rest. Despite injuries from a previous assault, he continued to fight without receiving any pay or compensation. When asked if he wanted Russian citizenship, he declined, requesting only timely payment. A Chinese mercenary with a Douyin username Red Macron shared that over 150 Chinese soldiers have already died on its front, with many families unable to receive compensation. He mentioned 2 young Chinese men, Liu Jie and Liu Hongwei, who joined Russian forces in June. After minimal training, they were assigned to an assault team dominated by foreign recruits on July 31st, only to be killed the next day. He appealed to viewers to contact the families of the deceased if they knew them, to provide some comfort and, if possible, obtain compensation, as many had joined the conflict without informing their families. In another video, Red Macron warned Chinese citizens not to get involved in the Russia-Ukraine war, stressing that those who sign contracts cannot leave. Contracts require a minimum service of 1 year and automatically renew if the war persists. He explained that those on the battlefield face serious injury, amputation, or death. Reflecting on his experience, he advised against joining, admitting he once sought adventure but now regrets becoming cannon fodder and hopes others won't make the same mistake. On November 29th last year, Chinese mercenary Zhao Rui was killed in battle. His comrade Zhou Zicheng later released a video tearfully describing how Russia treats them as expendable. He admitted joining the Russian military purely for the pay, approximately 20,000 yuan, but now feels used as part of a suicide squad. Zhou shared that he and over 100 other Chinese soldiers enlisted together but were divided across units. He pleaded with others not to be deceived by the romanticized notion of war, saying, "It's not like television or video games. One wrong move and you're gone." Zhou further shared that Russian soldiers treat them as disposable, sending them into trenches without any reinforcements. He recounted the staggering losses, with only 6 or 7 comrades surviving out of the dozens. He himself was hit by 7 drone strikes, but miraculously survived. Recently, a Chinese social media influencer recounted her traumatic experience while traveling in Russia. She reported that she and a friend were harassed by a group of Russian soldiers on a train bound for Ukraine, who mistook them for comfort women. She described how the soldiers approached and groped them, causing them to flee in terror. The influencer, known as Aunt Lori, detailed how one soldier touched her inappropriately even after she told him to stop. Despite her fear, she stood her ground, but the soldiers did not back down, telling her to sit and then sexually harassing her. She later admitted she felt helpless, afraid that any confrontation could turn deadly, given the soldiers' firearms. Reluctant to involve the authorities, fearing no fair treatment, she urged female travelers to remain vigilant and suggested always traveling with companions. On X, users criticized the idea of an unlimited friendship with Russia, expressing anger at how Chinese citizens face such treatment. Prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin announced an unlimited friendship. Since then, China has supported Russia diplomatically and economically, providing dual-use items like machine tools and microelectronics to sustain Russia's military despite sanctions. However, Xi's support has not fully met Putin's expectations. Russia's battlefield losses have led many of its soldiers to feel expendable, while Chinese nationals in Russia increasingly become targets of aggression. Recently, 3 Chinese students were brutally assaulted near a dormitory at a Russian airport, drawing concern among Chinese citizens. According to a social media post, on the evening of October 14th, 3 Chinese students were approached by 2 unidentified Russian men near a supermarket. The men demanded to check their passports without presenting any form of ID or authority. When questioned, they responded with violence, spraying pepper spray, kicking, and beating the students with iron rods and tear gas. One student suffered a broken nose, lost teeth, and severe facial injuries, while the other 2 also sustained various injuries. The assault left the victims traumatized and many Chinese netizens outraged, feeling a deep sense of betrayal and vulnerability in the face of such violence.